Hello there, I'm Trevor, and in today's episode of Somewhere in the Middle, I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit and bring you inside my classroom. That's right, it's back to school time. Yep. If you didn't know already, I am a teacher. Jessica and I are both teachers. I teach high school, and in today's episode, we wanted to give you some insight into how I became a teacher, why I became a teacher, how I plan for a school year, and just take you into the inner workings a little bit of the professional side of me. So let's go. So this episode, Jessica and I have given you a lot of our outside of the work lives. I've taken you to Disneyland with us. I've taken you on vacations with us. You've gone to the Sphere with us. We've gone many of places in our outside life. Today, I wanted to give you a little bit more insight into my professional world. Yes, I have a YouTube channel that's growing. That being said, my true profession is education, is teaching. And this episode, I wanted to give my audience a little bit more insight into my professional side. Let's talk a little bit more about why I'm a teacher, what got me into this profession, and some of the things that I do to try to make my classroom environment a safe space for my students, as well as a rigorous space for my students, and also how I have the courage to try to teach hard history of our country. So buckle in. I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Help grow this channel. And especially if you like the content you see in other episodes or in this episode. All right, let's start with the easy stuff. I've been teaching for 20 years now. I started in 2004. But I've had my own classroom, been on the exact same campus. I'm starting my 16th year here as an educator. And so I've been teaching for 20 years, but 16 years stable in one spot and never left, never moved. And intend to probably do all 30 years here in this same site if possible. I don't really want to move. I love this campus. I love the students that we have. I like the community. It's the same. I teach and work in the same community. So I live, again, in the same community that I teach. And I think it's important for my community to have someone that's driven and has passion for teaching. This episode is not about people that don't have passion for teaching, but there are plenty of people who are in this industry that might not have the passion they should, if that makes sense. Maybe they lost it along the way. Maybe they got this job for stability, right? So in that response, I got this job for stability when 20 years ago, when I first started working or thinking about becoming an educator. We had our first kids. We had our first kid, and it was like, I need to provide for my child. Before teaching, I was working in the factory setting, and part of this concept was I worked for a company that was called Intercom. Intercom got bought out by Compaq. Compaq got bought out by HP. In that progression, from Intercom to Compaq, I became a team leader, a floor manager. By the time HP came along and saw that I was a floor manager without a degree, they let me go. They said, this guy's getting paid too much, they let me go. There was no stability. Another huge part of why I became a teacher is because of my family, because of my kids. Most of my kids are pretty old now. They're all getting up there. My oldest is 26 and my youngest is 17. She's in her final year of high school now. Anywho, I wanted to be around for them at the end of every day. I wanted to be there for them. And that played a massive role of why I became an educator in that concept. Is I wanted a job that had stability and had given me the opportunity to be there for my kids. for their after school functions, to just make snacks, whatever it was. I wanted to be around. I didn't want my kids to be latchkey kids. I grew up a latchkey kid. This is no shame on my parents at all, but every generation wants to be better than the generation before them. And that was the thing for me, was I always wanted to be there for my kids and help create that support network. The other big reason I wanted to be a teacher is I believe life is for service, right? And what I mean by that, the service of others. All jobs are service industry, but this isn't a service that I felt really needed someone with passion, someone that was excited. And again, I'm not trying to say all history teachers don't have that or teachers don't have that. I just know that that's my inner fire in here, is that I have a desire to spread my inner passion for teaching American history and trying to hold our country accountable to the ideals that we've set forth, right? So again, stability became one of the big reasons why I became an educator. The second reason was because I believe life is for service, right? And helping kids, what's better than that, in my opinion? Empowering them, making them stronger believers of themselves, letting them know that they can achieve, and putting things in front of them that over the course of the 10 months they spend with me, they watch themselves improve and grow and achieve. As long as they believe in themselves, they'll do that. And they're open to learning, those things are gonna happen in this classroom. The last thing is a big reason why I wanted to teach, and especially wanted to teach history, because I was kind of teeter-tottering when I was going through the education program of like English or history. And history is where I laid my hat, because we need more awareness. A large amount of us say, I hate history, and then just move on. We let it go. A lot of math and science I tend to be that way with. I just, whatever. It is what it is. But this country was founded on a couple of ideals. It was founded ultimately on capitalism, right? This country was founded on making money. When people came over here, when Europeans came over here and established businesses to trade back to Europe, this country was founded on capitalism. Down the road, though, we developed a thing called democracy. Not like we were the first people to do it, but we identified this thing as democracy. And in our country, democracy can be fool's gold at times, because most of us just say it's there, but realistically, again, this country is about capitalism, making money. So I want to play that and toe that line with students, is to make them think about how we can hold up these ideals that we set this country up on, the democracy. How can we do that? How can I get kids to feel the social pressure that they need to participate in our democracy? A democracy is a participatory thing. And I'm not just talking about voting for the president. I know we got that coming up this year. I'm not talking about voting for the president. I'm talking about local control. I'm talking about knowing who your congressmen are, who your sheriffs are, who your local elected representatives are, and are they benefiting your community? These are things that we focus on in my classroom on a regular basis, looking at old history and bringing it modern to now. Anyways, those are some of the reasons why I became a teacher. The next thing to ask, or to kind of talk about with you guys, or to share with you guys, is how do I prepare as an educator? How do I prepare? How do I center myself for the school year? Well, as of recording this, it's a Tuesday. Next Monday, the following Monday, is my first day back with students. Am I required to be on campus today? Nope. I'm here on my own accord because I wanted to get some things done. I wanted to plan for the next year. Now, as a teacher that's been teaching for 15 some odd years, mostly teaching the same courses. So I come in and I make a checklist. I make a checklist of the things that I need to think about. This right now, one of the biggest things that I have to think about is AI. Last year, I was plagued with AI answers. There were plenty of ways to work around that, but because of that, I am now focusing my brain on how can I scale back the technology. I still want to use technology, but I want to scale it back and get kids more used to writing again. I want them to respond with their mouths. I want to hear their brains rather than what the AI says. And it's obvious when you get an AI answer. I have to refocus my energy on AI. How are kids abusing AI? One thing that I do in my classroom is called a flipped classroom. What does that mean? It's not like we're upside down. What that means is I don't do a lot of direct instruction in the class. What do I mean by direct instruction? I don't just lecture in class. When I first started teaching, 2 days a week were dedicated to lecture. The kids would write notes. I would present the stuff on the board, and kids would write those notes. And then from their notes, they could take quizzes and tests based off the notes they took, right? And then at the end of every notes, they had an exit ticket to answer about the notes they did. All of that is now done in video form. And I know that kids could watch those videos that I've created, let them play, not even listen to them. And then at the end, whatever the question is, ask Google or ask AI, whoop, beep, bop, and then they got an answer there. Sometimes it's very obvious the kid did it. Other times, not so much. So how do I recenter that? I don't think I'm going to get rid of video lectures and the flipped classroom because we can't get as far in U.S. history without doing that. So again, these are some of the things that my brain is rattling around on in my head. A lot of the first week stuff is already taken care of. I have all that set up. I have all my procedures. I have all my rules. I have all my class standards. Those things we go over together as a group. I have a game that I play to learn every kid's name. I can usually learn, I get about 160 students a year. Think of it, 35 kids times 5 classes, right? Do the math. I have that on average every single year. And within 2 days, I can learn every kid's name through a game I play called the Amazon game. Amazon, like Amazon, the store. When I was taught this game, it was actually called the Sears Roebuck game because we used to get a catalog, right? Anyways, the way the game goes is first letter of your first name. You can pick anything in the world you want, but it has to be the first letter of your first name. We play a phonetic game where everyone has to say the first letter of everyone's first name and the thing that they like. And by the end of it, I memorize every kid's name. Or I memorize the phonetic of it. Anywho, first week stuff, no big deal. Another big thing that I have to do to prepare as an AP class, I have to create the calendar. A calendar must be made. Without a calendar, there's no stability. The kids need a routine. They need to see a routine. It creates comfort. I know it might be like overwhelming with this huge calendar and all these things that we have to do, but it creates routine and they know what is expected. If it's willy-nilly, I don't know, every day, you're going to lose them. All right? Have I lost you yet? I'm talking all this teacher talk with you guys. If you're still watching with me, please help this channel grow. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'd love that. Help the channel grow. Let me know maybe your favorite teacher. Give me some feedback on things they did that really reached you as a student. Some of the things I have to think about is COVID, right? I know, yeah, COVID's done, it's over. Well, it's not over, everyone's still getting it and blah, 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 blah. But the impact of COVID is still around. I still have students that are impacted by it. They created bad habits during that period of time. And some of those bad habits I have to break. So of course there's class reminders that I have to do. The beginning of class, you got to be very careful with how you manage students. What do I mean by that? If I let them on their cell phones and I don't remind them to put them away, the year is going to be shot with cell phones. The kids are always going to have those darn things out. Do you really want them to always have them out? Absolutely not. We want them to put them away. We want to have those distractions for other times. Let the cell phone become a respite of, it's a downtime. It's a way to decompress after a long school day, not in the middle of school, right? And this isn't really first week. I mean, it's kind of basic first week stuff to show like, what is this class going to be about? What are we going to do on a regular basis? Students are going to react to text, video, and audio. And when they do, I have 4 big things they have to focus on. These are some big skills in my class that we're going to use. Summarize, explain, justify, and persuade. I need students to be able to do those things. If they can't do those things, we have a problem. So we're going to spend the next 10 months practicing those things. First week's very important in talking about expectations. 1, follow those school-wide rules. 2, treat people as you want to be treated. 3, believe in yourself. 4, achieve. And 5, be prepared and open to learning. 3, 4, and 5 that I just mentioned all tie into each other, right? You have to believe in yourself if you're going to achieve. So if you believe in yourself, you will achieve, period. And the other one, be prepared and open to learning. If you're prepared and open to learning, you come into the classroom prepared and open to learning, you will achieve. It's just what's going to happen. Now, here's the caveat to that is I have to figure out I have to get kids to buy into wanting to come in open and prepared to learn, and so that they can achieve. I feel like in a history class, I have an easier chance of doing that because daily it's new content that might trigger the kid in a way that they're excited about. Math, that's different, man. If you miss a couple hurdles, or you miss a couple learning curves, or however you want to put that, you forget some major pieces. How do you move on? Like if you never learned how to do fractions, you might just give up. History, we get a reset on the regular. Why? Because it's new content all the time. I'm not going to just focus on white American history too. This country is founded by immigrants. Yes, a lot of those immigrants are European and white, but a majority now are not that. And we have to add in those experiences, right? And that brings me to another big piece here is this concept that I've already said in the video. You have to have the courage to teach hard history. Now, hard history does not mean like learning the Constitution is hard. No, it means focusing on things that may be hypocritical about this country. It's being a true patriot to this country and saying, again, if we have a democracy, we can hold ourselves up. We can hold up our leaders, the people that we elect, to do that. All right? Again, this is a representative democracy, and the way it's written, the way it's believed to be, we the people have the power. Now, right now in our country, capitalism has the power. I'm not really having political discourse. Our country is about capitalism, and capitalism rules the roost. So again, the people have to stretch, have to flex their democratic muscles. And if we're not paying attention to our elected representatives, well, they get to do whatever they want. Just like a student, if I'm not paying attention to them in my class, if I let them sit on their cell phone for 5 minutes and don't look at them and don't pay attention to them, they're going to think that that's okay. And they're going to keep doing it, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So yeah, those things all tie in when we talk about this, again, democracy we have, and again, the courage to teach hard history so that we can hold ourselves accountable to what we believe or what our forefathers established in the Constitution. But when I'm creating a lesson, when I'm reviewing a lesson, when I'm going over what worked, what didn't work, I need to think about these big things in my class. Over here on the left, though, is the most important one. Intellectual rigor. Kids need to think. I want them to use their head, right? Second, there needs to be emotional engagement. Kids need to care about history. Again, a lot of people check out when it comes to history. I want them to care. So I have to find lessons and content that matters to them. This isn't stuff that's just straight out of a history book. So we have to go out and find primary sources from other groups of people that aren't in the history books and add to that. Again, student population needs emotional engagement, so their heart is engaged. And lastly, they need ethical reflection. They need to reflect on the stuff we're learning about, be ethical about it, and use their conscience to think. Right? So every time in my class, any lesson we do, I want there to be intellectual rigor, emotional engagement, and ethical reflection. That way they are activating their head, heart, and conscience in every single lesson. So thanks for watching this episode of Somewhere in the Middle. I hope you enjoyed. I hope seeing a little bit into my professional setting and learning a little bit about...
Just a little tiny bit.
...about what I think about when it comes to starting out a school year, how I want to address my students, and again, some of those insides outs of why I became a teacher and what I do within my classroom. Thanks again for watching this episode. We'll see you on the next one. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please help this channel grow. And we'll see you in the next episode. Auf Wiedersehen.